Yo, what is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. I'm still in New Jersey for Worlds today, but I will actually be heading back to Miami tomorrow, so we should be back to the normal setup. Video should be back to looking at least more how you expect it very, very soon. We can argue if it's better or worse, or if my videos suck or bad quality or whatever, but today we do have some big news coming out of the LCS world. Mr. Beast and his potential, joining of the LCS, or just the League of Legends esports worlds in general. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be the LCS, but obviously he is from the United States, has been a big story for quite some time. We've heard, a lot of tidbits, a lot of hints, him dropping some breadcrumbs and all this stuff along the way. I know last year he had really started to tell people about how he really, really likes League of Legends, how it's a goal of his to own a League of Legends team at some point in the future. We had started hearing rumors over the past couple of months about him potentially talking to some teams. We've seen that, hey, maybe FlyQuest is going to sell, maybe Dignitas is going to sell, maybe Immortals is going to sell, maybe Mr. Beast is going to get involved on one of these deals, either buying the whole LCS slot, buying the organization, buying a portion of the organization, like something like what Koi and Rogue are doing right now. We've heard all these different things, but obviously it's October 16th, the day that I'm recording this video. We're getting closer and closer to the start of the 2023 season, and still nothing has happened yet. So people are just wondering, like, hey, was any of this serious? Has Mr. Beast even been trying? Is he going to be here next year? What the heck is going on? And this I actually thought was very, very interesting because I hadn't seen this. This is a podcast from September 29th of 2022. This is, close to 20 days ago, around 2.5, 3 weeks ago at this point. And I hadn't really heard many people talking about this, but Mr. Beast on the Full Send podcast, whatever you think about the Full Send guys or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But they were talking to Mr. Beast about just his whole life, what he's got going on, how he got here, what he's doing now, and maybe what the future has in store, where Mr. Beast dropped a very, very interesting tidbit on us that I don't think he really even intended to talk about during this podcast, but it's still very, very interesting, and I think we can really draw a lot of conclusions from. So I wanted to see what he had to say, and here it is.
What else do you do with your free time then? Gambling's a little thing.
It's usually just like I was hooked on League of Legends for the longest time.
Oh, let's go.
What, you play League?
What did you main? Yeah, I love that shit.
Oh yeah, I play Pikes.
Shrooms or League of Legends? This guy goes crazy.
No, I love that
Let's
shit.
go!
Dude, I love it.
I just hosted a League of Legends tournament. It was me with 4 other influencers versus Ninja. We played on, where was it at, Reed? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
What
ADC.
No, but what league are you in? Like gold, diamond?
Oh no. Okay, so I guess I'm not that official. I haven't played.
He's not even ranked.
But I feel like
I've been playing for 10 years. I want to own a League of Legends
Crazy.
team.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I love League. So we're probably next year or the year after going to buy a League team.
How much money is in that shit?
A lot. What?
How much is a franchise spot? Are we allowed to say? Okay, never mind. It's
No,
Well, like roughly, like what's
it's
a,
8 figures.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Just
that
for a
game,
right
that,
to
bro.
play in
That
the
game,
league.
that game is.
So, that's pretty crazy. So, not only the fact that Mr. Beast said he will probably own a team either next year or the year after, and I didn't know exactly what that meant. I didn't know if he was saying he will probably own a team next year, meaning like the 2023 season, like he thinks he's going to be buying a team soon, or if he meant he probably won't buy a team until next year or the year after, which would be, the offseason between the 2023 and 2024 and 2024 and 2025 season. That's really how I took it, because from what he was saying there, it doesn't sound like they're really close to buying something. Again, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and if they were about to buy a team, I think he'd be talking differently. I think when he says next year or the year after, I think he's talking into the future. So I think, to me, some people are taking this different. Some people have took this to mean, hey, Mr. Beast could possibly be in the LCS in 2023, and I mean, that's possible, but again, that's not really how I took this interview. I took it to mean he is looking at buying a slot potentially for next year. I don't know why things didn't work out this year. Maybe the money wasn't right. Maybe he's not ready. Maybe, I don't know. He's a very, very busy guy that has like a million different things going on with Feastables and Mr. Beast Burger and 30 YouTube channels and all this other stuff. And obviously a lot of his money is tied up in doing all the crazy stuff he does and being able to drop 20, 30, 40 million, whatever. So I don't know. Mr. Beast does still say, though, again, very, very recently, that he will probably, that's a quote, own a team next year or the year after, meaning that despite what happens this offseason, that the Mr. Beast to the LCS dream is not dead. Now, again, this doesn't necessarily have to mean an LCS team. This absolutely could mean an LEC team, but I do think it's more likely that we will probably see it be an LCS team again. He's American. He lives in the United States, all the stuff he does. Now, he does actually have businesses that run around the world, and I think that's something very, very interesting to note. You know, he has his Mr. Beast channels translated to all these different languages, and he talks about in this podcast how those other channels are like started and operated in these other countries so that the YouTube algorithm, like, hey, knows, hey, we're like our Spanish channel is in Mexico. Like, hey, show it to all the Mexican viewers and all that stuff. So he's not opposed to running international type businesses and, you know, outsourcing some stuff and all that kind of thing. So it absolutely could be LEC, especially if that makes more sense on the business side. But at the same time, I do expect that an LCS franchise would be cheaper. And that could be a more interesting spot for him to get in. But I don't know. Either way, he's still saying probably he will own a team. He also, you know, says off screen to his manager, like, hey, can we say how much a franchise spot costs, that kind of thing. And his manager's like, oh, you know, I don't know if we should really set the bar for anything like that or whatever. So that also means that at least to some extent they have talked with teams. They've at least talked amongst themselves, like as a team, about potentially buying it. But I assume that means they've also talked with teams about how much this would cost to actually get this thing done. He does say 8 figures. Hey, that tracks. That obviously shows they know what they're talking about, which isn't surprising. But I know that I had put out a tweet earlier in this offseason, a rumor that Mr. Beast had been considering moving into the LCS. And I think this is really, really cool to see that confirmed because I had heard this from multiple sources. You know, I'm getting more and more into the rumor game. I want to put out things that are reliable. I want to put out things that are factual. And I just said, hey, Mr. Beast is considering buying a team. He may be talking to some teams. Nothing's official. Nothing's done yet, but this could be a real possibility at some point. So for me, this is really, really cool to see. And yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. He has said that if he does end up getting a team, that it would be called Beast Gaming. You know, it doesn't really seem like he's interested in just having a portion of another team and running it under another team or brand or org, whatever. He wants it, you know, to be his team and his thing. I'm still very, very curious that if Mr. Beast got into this thing, how he would go about not only roster building and like how much money and that type of stuff they would spend, but also how they would brand the team. Like, could Mr. Beast revolutionize content and branding of an organization, or would he face the struggle that a lot of other teams have found in esports so far, that it is really, really hard to monetize? It's really, really hard to be profitable. I don't know, but I would be very, very curious to find out, and I would love Mr. Beast to have the opportunity to come in and try to change the game in the LCS and in League of Legends esports. I think in a lot of ways he could breathe new life into this whole thing. I think he could bring a new, younger audience. And I am very, very happy to hear, even though I would have loved for him to be in by now, I would have loved, and I'm not even the biggest Mr. Beast fan in the world. That's the crazy part. You know, I don't really watch his videos. I do follow him because obviously as a content creator, there's a lot you can learn from him and know about his stuff and everything, but it's not like I'm subscribed to him. It's not like I got notifications on. It's not like, you know, I'm some huge Mr. Beast fan, but I just appreciate the stuff he does and know that the benefit it could have to League of Legends esports and just esports in general. And I think it would just be a really, really fun and interesting story. Way, way, way more fun and interesting than watching Immortals do whatever the heck they're doing, or Dignitas, or all these other teams that aren't really that interested even in, you know, trying to make things good. So, I don't know. I was very, very happy to hear that Mr. Beast did say this. I also thought that this was kind of underreported on. This was flying under the radar. Obviously, this video has 4 million views, but it's a 2-hour-long podcast. Many League of Legends esports fans probably aren't watching, you know, any of this, let alone the whole thing. So I wanted to get this news out to you guys, and I think, honestly, this is a very, very big story. Whether this is LEC, LCS, whatever, I really do hope that we will see Mr. Beast and Beast Gaming as an LOL esports organization sometime in the next 2 years, and it seems like we are close to living in that reality. But pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.